we talked about the stars on this team time after time again. We know Deshaun Watson's the most important player on the Browns. We know Myles Garrett, Chubb. Those guys have to have monster seasons for the Browns to reach their full potential. So my question today for you guys is, which non-star on the Browns, and I'll give you a little bit of liberty on who you determine is a star.
No, I want you to give us the list of guys who can't be on that we can't.
That you cannot choose.
Yeah.
Deshaun Watson, Nick Chubb, Amari Cooper, Batonio, Myles Garrett, Denzel Ward. Yeah.
Okay.
Those are the ones that are not. And I'd prefer you not to pick Dalvin Tomlinson.
Or Zadarius Smith.
By the way, in the quarterback thing, there was a play. I can't remember who the Vikings were playing. And one of the times where they were with Kirk Cousins in the quarterback thing, in one of the last couple episodes.
I haven't seen it yet.
And Dalvin Tomlinson gets trucked by some running back for a touchdown. I can't remember who the running back was.
Kicked in the mouth.
But I'm like, oh boy, hoping that doesn't happen with the Browns. Anyway, okay, so that's so Jason, who's your guy besides, if we take those guys out?
I think there's a slam dunk obvious one for me.
Yeah.
I'll give you my runner-up. Can I give you a runner-up, or will I take one of theirs?
Nah, just give it. Who
All
cares?
right.
Give it, yeah.
The runner-up for me is Martin Emerson. Because I think he's going to have a monster year. I know it's just 1 year. I know it was a rookie. I love his size. I love his frame. I think he has the ability to be a number one shutdown corner in the NFL. But they also have, if he does falter, they have Greg Newsome there to slide in. So that's why I kind of hedge on that, because I think he's up for a big year. I think he's going to have a big year. But they have backup for him if he gets hurt or if something happens. So my number one is Cade York. How many games come down to kicking in the NFL? Half the games come down to 3 points or less. We've seen him deliver against Carolina. We've seen him struggle. This is obvious to me. The kicking game is so important in the NFL. I like the pick. I know drafting a kicker that high kind of split people in half of that's a terrible idea. No, that's great. I'm of the belief that was the one spot in the draft where they got the number one guy on their draft board. They desperately needed a kicker. They went and got the kicker that they wanted the most. So I thought it was a great move. He's not a normal kicker in terms of the swagger and the confidence. I don't think it was shaken by last year and some of the problems that he had. I expect him to come back now that he's been through it once. Now that he's kicked in Brown Stadium in November and December, I expect a big year out of him. And just the way that games are decided in the NFL, so many games come down to kicks and last-second kicks. I want that guy on my team. To me, it's obvious. It's Cade York.
And what's huge about it, and I was actually thinking about him too, I think it's a good call, is that kickers, it's so unique with kickers. Even if you're drafted high as he was, as we've seen with other guys, if he sucks this year, he's gone.
Yeah, he's gone.
He's gone.
Yep.
No other position, pretty much, you've gone in 2 years.
Right.
But you can't afford to keep a kicker.
Right.
Like, he was up and down last year, as you said, made some really nice kicks,
Yep.
blew some really ones that he should have made.
Yep.
And, we've seen, what's his name? The guy who got drafted real high by the Buccaneers.
Santos. Cairo Santos.
No.
The kicker out of Florida State. Aguayo.
Right, and he was gone.
Yeah.
Like maybe even in a year. So he's got to be great this year. Having a great kicker, which the Ravens, Bengals, and Steelers have three of the best kickers in football.
Yep.
Obviously, Tucker's the best, and then the Bengals and Steelers kickers are two of the top five. That's a big advantage to have that.
Especially in this division, in these winter conditions.
Right.
And Heinz Stadium is so hard to kick in.
Oh, yeah.
Cleveland Brown Stadium is so hard to kick in.
Yep.
It's vital.
It's
is.
Vital. And, the debate about whether to draft him high or not is over. At this point, it's meaningless. He's on the team.
Right.
You need him to be great.
Right.
Gee.
Listen, this is an easy one for me. I just told the chat it's JOK, and here's the reason why. JOK was so bad last year that the Cleveland Browns resorted to poaching DeQuell Jackson off the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show to fix this man's life.
That's true.
Fix my life. Now, when you run the wide nine, which they're going to run this year, what you're doing is you're empowering your defensive ends. What you're saying is, defensive ends, I want to give you the freedom to shut things down. When you're wide as everything, there's no jet sweeps coming that way. They're not going to let them get outside. And Myles Garrett and Zadarius Smith is going to be monsters out there. But that means that one of the most the most acceptable area of your defense is going to be in between the tackles and the guards. Inside zone is the most popular play in the entire National Football League. And when your defensive ends are out in wide nines or outside of a tight end if it's there, that leaves a whole lot of space in the middle of the field. Now, in terms of middle linebacker, Anthony Walker, I think he'll be fine. The problem is JOK has not shown the leverage or the discipline or just the weight in the britches to be able to stop the run game. So if you can't stop that run game with JOK, that means Delpit, Juan Thorhill have to be in the box, and that's not what they want to do. They don't want to have their safeties in the box. They want to have those guys and as many guys in coverage as possible. That's what Shorts is about. He said something that I thought it was very fascinating. He said, listen, if you are, and Joe Woods has the same, they have some things in common. He said if you're going against a great quarterback, rush 4. If you're going against a garbage quarterback, rush 5. Well, look at the Browns' schedule. Browns' schedule is filled with great quarterbacks in the AFC. So they're not going to be bringing 5 a lot of time. They're going to be coming with 4. So what you need to do is have those back guys ready to go. JOK, I think, does not have a problem getting into his hook coverage and his zone coverage. He's athletic. But can they stop the run with small linebackers on second down, run downs? That'll be yet to be seen. So I think JOK is one of the biggest and most glaring issues for the team. And if he can play like a star, Browns defense, I think, will be a top 5 defense.
So you guys focused on special teams and defense between your picks, so I'm going to go in a different direction. I like all your picks. They're all important players, right? Between Emerson and JOK and Cade York, no doubt. I look at the Browns and I say, okay, we're not, I'm gonna assume that Deshaun Watson is going to get back to playing like a star again. So if he's going to play like a star, he needs to pull up some other guys with him. Mm-hmm. Because if he's going to throw for 4,800 yards, well, you can't
He's got him at 7,300 last check.
Right. If he's going to throw for 7,300 yards, he can't just have Amari Cooper as his only 1,000-yard pass catcher. Mm-hmm. So I look at the Browns pass catchers and I say, who do I think has the most untapped potential that we could see come out this year? I look at JOK. I like JOK. I've always liked JOK. But I think he is what he is. He's a third in a perfect situation. He's a third receiver.
DPJ. You keep saying JOK. You mean DPJ.
Sorry, DPJ. Yeah, my bad. Thank you for the correction. DPJ is what he is. I don't think there's much more room to grow, in my opinion.
Agreed.
Hopefully I'll be wrong, but I think he's about at his ceiling. I think there's a little room for growth for David Njoku, but I've been saying that for a while. I think with a good Watson, he'll be better. But I think that he's never going to be Travis Kelce or George Kittle. He's not going to be those guys. He could be a tier 2 tight end, fine. I don't think he's ever going to be a tier 1. The other guys, you got the rookie draft pick this year, the rookie from last year. I don't think those guys are going to play all that much.
So Anthony Schwartz.
No. Elijah Moore.
That would have been cold if we got that.
Now, as we've been talking about DeAndre Hopkins the last couple of weeks, I've constantly brought up Elijah Moore, unproven.
Right.
When they traded for him, I really liked it. Think about this again. This guy was I believe the 34th pick in the draft in 2022.
He's entering his third season in the NFL.
Yeah, 2021. Okay? So that's like there's a good track record of wide receivers drafted high in the second round. That those guys often pan out. Mm-hmm. Okay, we've seen a lot of good wide receivers drafted between 20 and 40, and he's right in that sweet spot. There's a lot of potential there. Now, he had his issues in New York, nothing terrible, but he just never seemed comfortable, never seemed happy. There were bad quarterbacks. Now, Garrett Wilson's a superstar. He took off even with bad quarterbacks last year. I don't think Elijah Moore is a superstar, but I think he has the potential to be – I think his upside is way higher than DPJ. I think it's way higher than Njoku. I wouldn't even, I know this might sound crazy because Amari Cooper is way more proven and way better than Elijah Moore, but I don't think it's insane. It's a very bold prediction. I'm not saying it's definitely going to happen, but I don't think it's insane that Elijah Moore could end up leading the Browns in receiving. I'm not predicting it. Probably won't happen, but I don't think it's crazy. And if you had to say if one guy could lead the Browns in receiving besides Amari Cooper, you have to pick one other guy. This is the guy I would take. Now, he may not hit any of that potential. He may be a total disaster and do nothing. But I see a ton of upside. There's great athletic ability. And I think he realizes that with New York, it was a missed opportunity. Whatever happened, it didn't go well. And he sees all these other young receivers exploding on the scene. With Deshaun Watson, he has the opportunity. That's his combined numbers for 2 years.
I expect him to get that this
I'd
year.
like to see him get that or even a little better this year alone. Now, that's a lot to ask for a guy who hasn't come anywhere close. But I think if Deshaun Watson plays up to his capabilities, which I expect, then somebody else he's going to bring him up.
A high tide raises all boats.
Yes, and I think Elijah Moore is the most likely to rise because I think of all their other pass catchers, he's the most talented and has the most potential.
And I keep looking at the roster of receiver and I keep looking for the home run hitter.
Yeah.
Right? He's there. I would say he's the home run hitter.
Yep.
I don't look at Amari Cooper, DPJ.
Right, he can make a lot of big plays.
Yeah, he has the chunk plays is I think what will get him. I think he's really versatile. He can play all the positions up front. And, the X, the Y, Z. He can play all those positions.
The Browns haven't had big playability, I feel like, since Josh Gordon.
Facts.
Right? And even then, the rest of the team was so bad that it didn't even matter that they had that.
Yeah.
And they didn't have a good quarterback, whatever. But, we need that as part of this offense. And hopefully he's the guy to bring it here.
If they don't have that, they're going to struggle, not against the teams they can beat, but those really good teams, they're not going to just let you just matriculate the ball downfield. Because that's what good defensive coordinators want you to do. They want you to continue to take plays instead of those big chunk plays. So I like Elijah Moore as a pick as well.
All right, Mikey. There we go. Cade York, JOK, Elijah Moore. Those are the top choices.
So 3 good choices. We actually put a poll out on our YouTube channel. Whenever we do that, we're going to get the results for you guys because we like to hear what you guys say. We are very interested in your guys' thoughts on some of these topics as well. And our poll today got over 900 votes. So I'm going to tell you those results in 1 sec. But first, we got to tell you who brings us the results of that poll, and that is our dear, dear friends at PCC Airfoils. If you're looking for a job with career advancement and great benefits, well, PCC Airfoils is a leading manufacturer in Northeast Ohio. All locations of PCC Airfoils at Eastlake, Menor, Wickliffe, and Minerva are hiring for positions starting at $18 and up, plus full benefit packages, paid time off, and a signing bonus. You can apply online at precast.com/careers to learn more. So we asked the YouTube community tab, which if you're not a member, subscribe. It's free. This is free for everyone out there. You can become a member. You can communicate in these YouTube community poll posts and all that kind of stuff. Leave some comments. We'll read them here. And we just essentially asked, and we picked 4 candidates. 1 was on your guys' list. The other 3 weren't. The same question we asked you. Which non-star for the Browns is most important this year? And of the 937 votes, 72% said Elijah Moore.
There you go.
70. That's a massive percentage.
What options did you give? The 3 we picked?
No, we did this morning before.
Sorry.
So we put Elijah Moore.
Yeah.
We had Jerome Ford up there.
Yeah.
We had I say his name, Obo Okonkwo.
No Cade York?
And Grant Delpit. We did not have York up
you
there.
guys dropped the ball not having Cade York and no JOK.